is your favourite drink right now?
Aperol spritz.
Really? Why?
Though I'm kind of slowly but surely getting over them because I've been butchering them.
Why
just been
do you
absolutely
like
smashing
an
them hard.
Aperol spritz so much?
Because it's like, it's refreshing, but still tastes like alcohol.
That's true. You get like that kind of like a little bit of a kick in there, but it's not like too punishing that it kicks you to the curb and you're like,
Yeah. It's not like a cocktail, but then it's not like a pal consistency, which is just like water.
I've found it's a little bit like a watered down Negroni.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Do you like a Negroni?
That's a
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I feel that. I'm also a sucker for an Aperol Spritz.
Yeah.
First time I ever tried Aperol Spritz was down in Wanaka on my honeymoon, and we got them as like waterfront. It was uber cute, and you know they're one of those drinks that you always see like on the shelf. They're always there.
Yeah.
Every bar's got them.
Yeah.
Like if you go through duty free, it's a drink that they've got like the little care
Yeah,
packages that you
flip.
can buy like all the ingredients.
When you order one though, you feel a little bit fruity. You're like, it's an Aperol spritz. Especially coming from a
I was
dude.
about to say, I feel like I need to be wearing like
Yeah.
a pink polo with some tight chino shorts.
Oh, just a spritz thing.
I'd never tried one until like a year ago.
Yeah.
Or even this year with Liberty.
Buzzy. It was Liberty the one who got you into it?
I think so. And I was
cracks
like,
me
what
up.
the heck is that? And then ever since.
Drinks are such a crazy, I guess, expression of creativity in the sense of you've got like so many different like ways to do it. It's like almost an art in and of itself.
Yeah.
I used to get targeted with these ads on social media.
Used to?
Okay, all right, maybe like last week. It's like some English, like basically cocktail makers like tertiary education thing. So you go for like a
What?
year and you do a diploma over in like
That's amazing.
Switzerland or
Mixology? Mixologist?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And
It's an actual thing.
It's an actual qualification. You become like a mixologist,
Yeah.
and they teach you like how to do all the different.
Something out of Harry
Can
Potter.
actually
kid
get
you
a
not,
diploma
it's
in that. It's
Genuinely
amazing.
something that I would be like,
Yeah.
far out. That'd be really interesting to learn,
Yeah.
and even just the different
Man.
flavor, like combinations of different spirits and different
Totally.
like tonics and all that kind of stuff, and how to like make a drink that is enjoyable for an individual.
It's an art form.
It is an art
It is an
form.
art form.
I like it
We
a
love
lot.
it. Me too.
Avya, welcome. Welcome to the Jeffrey podcast.
Thank you.
Episode. Well, it's not even worth saying episode
No,
because
'cause
it's going to be back and forth,
Let's
chopped
be honest, we got no
all
idea.
over the place. So, yeah.
Just an
Welcome.
episode. Thanks.
Here we are, another episode. It's good to be
Thanks
here.
for having me. It's
It
fun.
is.
Avya,
Indeed.
who are you and what do you do?
My name is Avya. I am a musician.
Ooh, yeah, girl.
Short and sweet.
Not a
love that.
Calling
singer-songwriter?
it time. Yeah, singer-songwriter, but I like to say musician
Right.
because it's all-encompassing.
Yeah, nice.
Mm.
Did you go through, was there a bit of a transition that took place from there where you kind of went from being a singer-songwriter into a musician? Was it like a caterpillar having a butterfly thing?
The only reason I say that is because I remember like a few weeks back, you were like, I think it was for your yarn, your first Jeffrey yarn. I was like, oh, what are you?
months
And you were
ago
like,
now.
I'm a
Yeah.
singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I am a singer-songwriter. I just felt like saying musician right now, in this
Right now.
moment
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Respect that.
But also singer-songwriter has a lot of, there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Negative connotations?
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Attached to the name.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which I can absolutely just ignore, but I like musician.
Sick.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think, like what for you personally is the major definition between a musician and a singer-songwriter?
I feel like a musician, you could be a songwriter for other people. You could be a ghostwriter. You could write jingles. You could be a session musician. You could do so many different things. Whereas singer-songwriter, at least to me personally, is more focused on your own stuff.
Your own craft, like you're quite,
Yeah.
It's almost like you've gone down a path of like unpigeonholing yourself. Like you
Totally.
really nailed down, you defined yourself, you found your niche, and then you found an area which you really enjoy, and then you've gone, wow, actually, the world of being a musician is so much.
much
It's kind of
broader.
like, to tie it back to the alcohol chat, it's like
Oh, that's who he's
I want to
talking
see you do it
I'm
right
here,
now.
I'm here for it. It's like not,
can do it, go.
not every bourbon. No. Not every whiskey is a bourbon.
Oh.
But every bourbon is a whiskey, and it's kind of the same as like not every musician is a singer-songwriter, but every singer-songwriter is a musician.
I love how you made that link.
Me too. I'm kind of stoked.
My
But-
mind is blown right now just because I didn't know that connection.
Yeah,
between bourbon and
interesting.
It's funny, eh?
Well,
Yeah.
Zahn
What?
told us like a few weeks ago. He blew our
that-
minds with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's where I got it from. I was
Exactly.
like,
Wait.
I know this thing. I don't know where it came from.
Flip.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm learning
Fascinating,
so
eh?
much. Yeah.
But like, I guess to
get back to that. I'm not-
it comes back to the fact, like, you've got this overarching, I guess, ability as a musician. You hold yourself really well in that as a professional, and then, like, if you were to define and, like, really niche down and go, this is an area that I'm really good at and I have been for many years, singer-songwriter. But it's like, wow, you're in a position now where you're kind of broadening your horizons, you're expanding your ability, and
Totally.
you're learning and growing, and I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's something
awesome.
I've been thinking about over the last few weeks, I guess, is the other avenues within the music industry that I can work and be, because being a singer-songwriter for yourself every day, all day, every day, would just get really exhausting. Whereas
Yeah.
if you're one day writing for yourself and then another day writing for someone else, or writing jingles, or even playing covers, like it just takes the pressure off your own brand for a second, which is really nice, and you can still be bettering yourself as a musician but contributing to other projects, which I think just keeps things fun.
Yeah, definitely
Interesting.
keeps it interesting.
You alluded
Yeah.
to something really cool there around your own brand. What would you say your brand is as a person? Or
If
as
there's
a mu- as
one
an
question that I hate, is this one.
artist? Really? I'm so
No, it's fine. Just because I feel like I'm in such a development phase right now.
Cool.
And I've kind of, I don't know, I mean, I'm still pretty young. Like, I've been doing music for a long time, but I feel like now I'm actually only starting to refine and define who I am, where I want to go, who I want to reach, all these things. And I'm just putting heaps of time and effort into talking to lots of different people that know what they're talking about this exact thing. But like, from my own conviction, I can outright say that, like, the style of music I like and create would be, you know, inspired by Nora Jones, Amy Winehouse, Brooke Fraser, Bikronga, and I guess if they created a hybrid, I would like that to be me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But yeah, I just, at the end of the day, I just want to make good music that reaches people. And that sounds very cliche, but you know those songs and those shows that you've gone to that have touched you and have affected you. And I want to, essentially, the core of what I want to do is that.
Yeah. I don't think those brands, those artist brands are really made overnight, right? So I guess that it's cool to hear that that's kind of the phase and season of life you're in, is that you're really starting to take this seriously and own it. And this is like such a fundamental like development phase of who you are as an artist in these early stages. Like the decisions you make of who you collaborate with, like the different singles that you put out, and even just songs you write every day, like will really mold and shape who you are as an artist, which is a really cool like journey to just step into. And who knows how long it will take before, you know, you look at someone like Nora Jones, and we can talk about it like Nora Jones or Amy Winehouse. It's like, it's so different for everyone, but I guess you're never going to really discover it unless you just go for it and step into it now.
For sure.
I think there's also this very distinctive, I guess for me personally, I'm not a musician. It's not an area. I once tried to learn how to play saxophone, which that's still my
I'm
claim
into
to
that.
fame in
Yeah.
the music world. Shout out
I think
Mum
the
and
first
Dad.
time I met
heard that a few
you, you were like,
times.
oh, you do music? I play sax. We love to see it.
That's my opening line.
That is so funny.
Yeah, anywho, that was my intermediate and early high school days.
Nice.
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
But based on my limited experience in the musician world, I don't know, I feel like you've got so many different types of artists, some who seem to crack it, like pretty overnight, you know, like they go through quite produced music, and you've also got some who, like, as you were pointing out, like your idols, you know, people like, or people that you aspire to be like more, you know, like those kind of people are people who really refine their craft and like their voice, their musical ability, like that is like the whole package is, it's quite them. You know, like it's...
Well, they have a book with lots of detailed chapters and
Yeah,
stuff, right?
it's
That
intricate,
richness,
and it's
right?
like it's intimate as well. Like I would say, I've like even with Brooke Fraser as an example, like for like being in that setting, like I'd say I intimately connect with her music just by listening to it. Where there's certain other artists that I find enjoyment out of it, but intimately connecting is not
Right.
part of the relationship to that music, if that makes
Totally.
sense.
Yeah.
And I think, even just differentiating the different types and output that you can have and the effect that you can have on people, whether
That's
it's
so true.
I don't know, it's fascinating.
Yeah,
but
like there's
encouraging.
some artists that you chuck on when you're in the shower.
100%.
And there's some artists that you listen to when you want to have a fat cry. And neither is actually necessarily more important than the other.
100%.
But they're just different niches.
Yeah, and they play their part.
Yeah, totally. And there is
Yeah.
a spot in the industry for all of them. Yeah.
What's been your journey in the music industry so far? What does that look like?
I guess I take it way back to the start. Like I grew up in a fairly musical family,
Sick.
Cool.
and started playing when I was 7. My older brother's son, was playing in bands at the time, and I would just come along to gigs and I was like, oh, that looks fun, that looks cool. So I'd start stealing his guitar, and then he's like, okay, I'll teach you. So he taught me a few chords and then went from there. And then when I was like 8 or 9, ridiculously young, I was like, I want to go busking. Like, just had this
So
weird
cool.
itch to like play for people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which I guess I cultivated throughout my teen years, playing more gigs and stuff, and then getting into weddings and songwriting. And yeah, I guess for the last 5 years, I've been taking it a bit more seriously. Studied at Mains for a couple of years, got a diploma, and yeah, I've just been writing and jamming and doing fun things since. Obviously, recently had the opportunity of jumping on Popstars, which was incredible. And on the other side of that, I think I'm just finding my feet in the industry. And yeah, it was definitely like a massive boost. Like people, it's quite funny because I'm exactly the same person I was before.
Yeah.
I'm doing exactly the same things I was doing before, hustling just as hard, but suddenly, obviously, people take a bit more notice to you.
Yeah.
Good.
Which, like, is incredible, but in ways I'm like, it's just funny. It's kind of like luck. You just need one foot up. You can be working so hard for years and years and years. And, like, no one actually is an overnight success. Like, every overnight success, there is probably a decade of hard work behind that, but it's
Yeah.
been that one lucky moment or that one someone recognized you. And, for example, my friend Paige, who's been working her ass off for the last however many years, doing what I do, playing at weddings and gigs and da. And then Billie Eilish shares her one day on Instagram. And from that, her career skyrocketed and just like tens of thousands of followers within days, label offers. She's now signed to Sony, like killing it. But it's like, it was an overnight
It's not part of the plan.
fluke.
Yeah.
But it, like, her success is from her years of work.
Yeah. Well, and she got to that level of exposure to get in front of someone like Billy from that hard work.
Honestly,
Right.
like, just posting every
Yeah.
single day on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm now talking about Paige a whole lot, but it's something that I always have to remind myself, like, consistency actually is key. And
Yeah.
you have no idea when it will pay off, but, like, one day it will.
Yeah.
And you will be recognised for those hard yards. Yeah.
Do you find that hard? Like, I don't know. It's just for me personally. I love tangible goals. I
Yeah.
love like being able to look at
Yes.
something and go, "Cool,
Yeah.
let's go." Like I know I can do this.
Totally.
Like, how do you live that?
It's quite challenging.
Yeah.
And as a creative, I guess, creative at my core, I do have about 4 existential crises each
yeah.
year.
That's great English. I didn't even know that was a thing. Crises.
I was like, crises?
Sounds French.
And it's just something you have to keep an eye on.
What, the
Because
crises?
or just like as a musician, I guess for me, there aren't always tangible steps.
Yeah.
And there aren't always super clear, like there's no path for being a musician.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to be a lawyer or an architect or whatever,
Very tangible
the
things.
very
you can
tangible
do.
steps you can
Right.
take to get to the place where you want to be.
Yeah.
But as a musician, it's
There's
like
no formula.
you figure out where you want to be. Cool, I'm so far from there. Like, what's the next best thing I can do as a baby step towards that? And it's flipping like so intimidating and terrifying because I mean, it's not terrifying, but it can be very discouraging because
Yeah.
it's like where I want to be is still so far away.
Yeah.
It's crazy you think that though, because I'm sure your friend like Paige was in that exact same space, and then one day she wakes up and she's got Billie Eilish sharing her songs.
Yeah.
I remember listening to watching a YouTube video around Post Malone and how he kind of became an overnight success. Like for him, well, not an overnight success. Like again, years of stuff that went beforehand, gigging, recording
SoundCloud,
music.
right?
Yeah, he literally like left his home
Yes.
and like ran away. Moved to LA, something like that. Yeah,
Something
I don't know, one of those
where
places
they all go. Yeah.
but yeah, literally was mad at one of his mates. He like produced this song and showed it to him, and they got in this argument, and he ended up like out of anger from this argument, he was like, nah, screw it, and just like posted the song on SoundCloud, and the next day it had millions of hits, and that song was White Vision. Yeah.
The heck?
And I was like, so that song,
Yeah.
he produced it and made it before anything. And his mate was like, nah, it's too good, don't release it yet, like not yet. Wakes up the next morning and he goes from being literally homeless with no money in his bank
Wow.
account to like,
That's incredible.
And it's
DMs
like-
on DMs on offers.
It just goes to show like create something, chuck it out, and then move on. And that's something that I'm learning is like once you've written something, park it and like stop scrutinizing on it, and you actually can't be such a perfectionist, and move on to the next thing. And then maybe stop and look back at your pile of things and like pick and choose the best of it. But yeah, I'm still figuring out exactly what I want to be doing, whether I want to be chucking up demos as I go or taking my time with them. I think I'm taking my time with them. But I'm just in a space where like with writing, I'm just going to write absolutely anything and everything that comes up.
So
like
good.
I had like a free 20 minutes the other day and Charlie was still working and I was like, can you set a timer for 10 minutes and give me a topic and I'll write a song about it. And then he was like, succulents. And so I wrote a song about succulents. And
Give
then
us a little demo right now.
absolutely not.
I can't actually remember how it goes. I remember
That's
grow, baby, grow. Go,
You remember
baby,
it.
go. I just remember that bit.
Nice.
But it was
that's
it
part
was
of
on
it.
our family's old like 80s
yeah.
Casio keyboard that has like this tone bank of like 90 different sounds, and Arbs was just going through like chucking up these different like samples and sounds, like the
Buzzy.
buzziest things, but
Yeah.
actually sounded pretty cool, like these rare sounds.
did you record it?
Yeah. And
That's
then
sick.
I was like, and then you gave me another one. And
Traffic.
from that, I actually got a melody, which I think is sick,
Yeah.
which I'm going to take into the studio.
Yeah. And that was what, from one just like
That's
stuff it,
so
20
Yeah.
minute slot of just going,
Yeah.
even though I like don't have anything like really solidly tangible to work on right now, it's just like I'm just gonna have fun as well
Yeah.
and actually just create
Yeah.
for the sake of creating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just quickly, because that's when you get into that space that the best things happen, is when you're like,
Stuff it.
stuff it. I have some free time.
Totally.
And like, I just felt like it
Yeah.
and wasn't thinking twice about it. I was like, it's probably going to be pretty crap. And then write 2 pretty crap songs in 10 minutes. And then look back, I'm like, that's actually a dope melody that I'm
Yeah.
actually going to use.
Even if like the song in itself or the lyrics,
was about
you got the
succulents.
melody out,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And that's,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
What were you going to say?
It cracks me up, like I think, especially with creativity, like whether it's being graphic designing, like whatever the area of creativity it is that you're working in, or that you're, as soon as that becomes as soon as you start monetizing it, and as soon as you're like, for you, like wedding gigs and even weekend gigs at bars and stuff like that, like as soon as you start monetizing it, there seems to be this like almost tension that's like, how do you differentiate between work and play and
Yes.
pleasure? Because it's like, I don't know, creating is something that is so deeply personal to
Yeah.
you, and whatever you output is also like, that is uniquely you.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, as soon as you monetize that and put a price tag on it,
Totally.
does that thing that used to be so life-giving and so like enjoyable.
Enjoyable.
Yeah.
I was like, enjoyment.
Is it like,
Love.
does it start to rob from
Yeah.
it being a passion?
Have you
And
experienced that?
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's something I'm always struggling with is like taking a Wednesday to just write, and then at the end of the Wednesday or during a Wednesday feeling super guilty that these aren't billable hours, and then just really getting stuck in that mindset that like I have to be like, it's a weekday. It's just the 9 to 5 thing. It's like, it's 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I need to be working, earning money. Like, I can't be sitting here writing because probably nothing's ever going to happen to these songs. It's just a waste of time. But that's so wrong because it's like,
is that 20-minute time?
Yeah. And it's like, as a musician, it's actually my job to do that and to carve out those spaces.
Yeah.
But then the other thing that I'm like, everyone struggles with is you can't force. I mean, you could be like, and I've done this in the past, I'm going to write in the morning and then I'm going to do my work in the afternoon. And so I put all this pressure on myself to write good stuff in this morning slot that I've allocated for my creativity. And your brain doesn't really react very well to that. And I could just sit there for like a couple of hours, like nothing coming to me, like jamming, noodling away at chords and just like getting really frustrated and annoyed at myself. And then when I'm going to sleep, I'll have a melody and I'll have an idea. And it's just like, you can't.
Why do you think that is? Do you think that's because you're splitting a day in two because of two completely different sort of
I think you just
things? Or?
Yeah, I think that's something I've learnt is I can't split my days like that into I'm going to be creative in this slot and I'm going to do my work in this slot because it just doesn't. You can't turn it on like that. Like you have to carve out the time to sit. It's kind of I wasn't going to go there, but it's kind of like carving out time with God. It's like you carve out this time. You can't expect phenomenal things to happen in the like 30 minutes you set aside to hang out with God. It's like it might just be sitting there and centering yourself and being like, okay, cool. It's the same with being creative. It's like, I've got 3 hours to write, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything good is going to come out.
What if you're just creating the habit? What if carving out that time and starting to practice it, even if you're not getting the fruit or the outputs, like you're actually still sowing into building that habit. If that makes sense. Like
I think that's uber beneficial, but I vibe with the like you go to bed and you get that. Like for me, business is something that I froth and like that I get that, and it's like I'm in bed and I'm trying to sleep and it just hits you and you're like it's really hard to know how to steward that because it's like I need to sleep, I need to like so do I get up out of bed and go and work right now and how do you keep work within work hours when and like trying to navigate friendships and relationships and you know allocating your time well between those different areas of your life so that all of a sudden this doesn't become all consuming because you know it can isolate you as well because it does consume your friendships and your relationships but it's like when you get that creative like oomph, how do you? I don't know.
I've always seen it as like that oomph is the muse, and by carving out time daily, you're being diligent. And this sounds super wacky, but like through your due diligence daily, like the muse is sort of like. It will come to you. You don't know when, but like through, like for me, songwriting every day is just keeping my muscles warm, like my songwriting muscle warm. Even if I'm not gonna go do a workout, it's like it's just keeping the muscle warm.
Nice.
The weirdest analogies.
Hey,
it makes sense.
Analogies are great. Yeah.
But I think
what's the muse like?
Explain
for me,
that a bit
like
more.
the muse is like I can write a song, start to finish about a particular topic, but it could be completely without my heart in it. It could just be a song and like, maybe a catchy song, but it will have nothing really personal to me and won't, because I don't feel it from my heart. I don't think other people are going to connect with it or relate to it because it's not super, authentic or heartfelt. Whereas sometimes something will just hit me, or like something that someone said in a conversation, like one line that they'll say to me will just hit me real hard in my stomach, or my chest rather, and like I immediately I was like that's
hit me right in the stomach.
I think you called me on and I was like shh. But as soon as that hits, like it is my duty to then translate that into my language, which is music.
Interesting.
And so I see the muse as like that thing that's floating around. Yeah, whatever it is for you. A new business idea or like a new graphic you could design or whatever. For me, it's like a line or a melody or a hook or just something that I can build a song from. And when it hits me, I'm like, okay, like it's my job to now go chuck this down, whether that's singing an audio note into my phone.
I was going to say, what are the ways you do that? What are the ways that you like jot it down?
So like singing an audio note or just writing whatever's coming to my head.
Voice memos and notes.
Like my notes, my phone is a
honestly,
mare,
Avya was showing me and blew my mind the other day on how powerful an iPhone is with
ridiculous.
the notes and how she can, document a new idea for a song, right? And then record a voice memo, share it into
and have
the
it
notes
all in the same document.
It's such
crazy.
a crazy tool
Yeah.
for creators, for anyone out there to use for their craft and ideas.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Yeah.
It's revolutionized creativity in many
It's,
respects.
oh, man.
You look back to early 2000s, and I mean, go back to the 1900s, and it's like,
how did you...
like how music, what did that look like,
Totally.
I got no idea.
Something that always blows my mind. Okay, always. I've been really into Dolly Parton in the last 3 months. Super random. But, because on the show I met Tammy Nielsen, and she's incredible, and she's very much a fan of Dolly. And so I was like, I'm going to look into this woman that I actually don't know heaps about. And she is ridiculous. Like, songs would literally like fall out of her on the daily. But what blows my mind is that she would just... Like, what song is it? 9 to 5.
Yeah.
9 to 5. I can't remember how it goes. But she
I
wrote
listened
that.
to it the other day.
But I think massive song.
Yeah.
But she just got the hook for that, and then she has like long ass acrylic nails, and she just started playing a beat on her nails, like sitting on a train or something, and just wrote the song start to finish. But what blows my mind is like I need to be able to record an idea. Usually in order to remember it. And so I'm like, I think probably I don't know if our brain capacities have been minimized due to like the technology making everything so much easier and accessible. Like
our attention spans have just gone, whoop.
Yeah, totally. So I think it's a blessing, and also probably naturally we have declined in areas.
Yeah.
Anyway, tangent over.
Tell us about Popstars. How did that even come onto the scene? What does that look like? What did that look like?
So I first heard about Popstars, I think, back in November. We were actually all in Queenstown. I was like,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, did you get that email then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Buzzy.
Yeah, and I think that's when I had the first. I've completely just like spilled the fact that I was scouted for it. Whatever. So got an email about it, and then jumped on a couple of Zoom calls back in November. And at that point, I was like, this sounds super fun, but like I didn't have super high expectations of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think just through years and years of incredible opportunities, then disintegrating and just vanishing, being like, okay, cool, great.
Yeah.
So I held it very lightly, but I was like, yes, sick, that sounds incredible. Like it's a singing show essentially, hosted by Kimbra, and you get taken through like, I was gonna say master classes. Oh no, master classes. Yeah, I'm thinking of Master Chef now. My brain is master classes and mentorship and songwriting and performing and everything that I love. So I was like, sounds dope. And so, that process sort of began. And then I auditioned in January, and that went well. And then got through the next round and got through the next round. And then I moved on to the show. And
What was it like when you got the news?
All the news, so good.
There were the auditions.
Yeah.
Then there were the
like a
callbacks.
wait,
So that's still kind of a little bit up in the air.
It was a lot
Am I,
of-
aren't I on the show?
Yeah.
What was the point that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm actually in this. Like, I'm on
Yeah.
it and a part of it.
Honestly, like, it was super weird because I was so, like, after I was getting through each round, I was so excited, but so in denial that this was happening because I was just, it sounds so sad, but I just felt so used to things flopping that I was like, is this really going to happen though? And so,
Imposter syndrome.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it hit me several points throughout the show. I was like, why am I here? Like, and I think it was so for the callbacks audition, we came to this hotel, we stayed for the night, and then we were performing the next day. And we were told to pack for up to 6 weeks, because if we got through to the next round, we would be moving immediately into the hotel with the contestants. But there's also just as much chance that you could be going all the way home to unpack your 6 weeks of belongings. And so in my head, I was like, that sounds like
mental game.
Yeah. I was like, do I actually pack for 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be so much admin to unpack all of that. And so I met halfway in the middle and I packed for about 2-3 weeks. And because that's like, I was just so like, I'm going to give it 100%, but I have no idea like if this is gonna fly or sink. And I got through and I was like, shoot, I'm gonna need some more clothes. But it definitely took a hot minute to sink in. Like when I first found out, I was kind of like, huh? Like, me? Really? Okay. And then I think over the following days of like getting settled into this new super weird but wonderful reality, I was like far out. I've actually like dropped my job, moved out of my flat, and I am living in a TV show right now. Like this is
so buzzy.
So weird.
It was such a quick turnaround as well, right?
Yeah.
It was.
And
I guess, what was it like finding out like those little increments more, like it's going to be on 3 nights a week, like all of these different things, like
honestly,
when did it start, like how long did it take to settle in, like this is actually a real big deal?
So while being on the show, it actually just felt a lot like a band camp or music camp or like a retreat. Yeah, it was like we're staying in a hotel with all these young people. We're being fed kind of like kids. Like I was like, what? Don't have to cook? Like you just get your food brought to you 3 times a day, basically. And we just could spend all day on music, and I was like, didn't have to think about money, didn't have to think about logistics, and like all these things were being arranged for us. And so for me it felt super weird but like incredible, and I was so grateful, but just definitely a alternate reality. I actually think it was only when I got eliminated that it got real.
Right.
Yeah,
because I was
what do you mean by that?
I think to that point I'd just been on such a high that I don't know, it did feel like this other world. And then getting eliminated and realizing how gutted I was, and then immediately going back to reality, I was like, wow, that like 3 months was absolutely wild, and that was actually a TV show. And then watching it play out has been such a brain like frick.
Yeah.
Because oh my gosh, yeah. It's been awesome. But it's definitely like watching it back, I've had to check myself quite a lot and be like, are you all good? Because it was very challenging at times being on the show. Like,
do they provide much support to you through the show, or in regards to your mental health and stuff like that?
Yeah, so they were really good like that. They had a have a Popstars like counsellor who was like there for us to reach out to at any point, and after the show as well, which is super helpful, because I think a lot of the mental games actually started after the show in a way.
Right.
After recording finished.
Yeah, like that's when all the promo starts, and therefore all the comparison and
negative social content.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. How have you navigated that world? Like, I feel like you've been kind of here in Aotearoa, you've been kind of thrust into that kind of limelight a little bit, and you've started to get thrust.
Sorry. I was like, don't say it. Thrust.
I love when you get your mucking words fuddled.
You thought about that one carefully.
I'm really pleased you thought about that, Charlie.
There was this one time I was trying to say that, and like I got my words muddled, and my mum didn't hear that. Sorry, I completely destroyed that thing that you were onto.
Don't even worry.
No, go.
We don't need yours. I can't even remember where I was going. Something about
that world of social media and promo and
yeah, far out. That's right. Yeah,
yeah,
so like,
yeah.
That whole world that you've kind of been exposed to now, and even in New Zealand, like you mentioned, you were at the shops the other day, and you get like people yelling out to you and like that kind of stuff. Like, what's that like?
Yeah, I think for me it's been quite soft, which has been actually a blessing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like some of the contestants online have been butchered, and I know it's been very hard on them. Obviously, like if a video of you singing goes up and like 500 people are like, "You suck," it's like that is going to take a toll.
Yeah.
But I'm super lucky to have kind of, I mean, you know, I'd get the odd comment of, "Oh, it's pretty shit." You shouldn't say shit on your podcast. But
Well, this episode just went explicit.
Yeah, there's like a little button that we have to push before we
all
post
all it
like,
takes is me pressing a button.
great. Oh my gosh, Avya Grace,
Is
explicit
it-
content.
on YouTube, I think it asks like, "Is this for kids?" No.
Oh gosh. But in terms of like bad, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a bad response online. Like I've been quite lucky.
Yeah.
And blessed to not have been butchered.
That's cool.
Or at least butchered behind closed doors, which they can stay there. And yeah, people have been lovely for the most part.
That's
Like
great. Yeah.
it's actually been incredible and really encouraging.
Yeah.
And when I get the odd person like, "Oh hey, like da da da," everyone's so kind.
cool.
Yeah.
What do you think
been-
what are you most grateful for out the other side of the show? Like, what have you taken away with you that you are just like, man, this was all worth it for this, or these things?
Yeah. I feel like I'm in a super fun space right now, which I would not be in if it weren't for the show. So the thing that I'm most grateful for from the show are the relationships
Yeah.
with various people and the connections and I was like, don't.
Oh my gosh.
But no, people that I've met on the show,
Yeah.
just such flippin' cool people and catch up with for
Other
coffee.
contestants or like the team or all
Kind
of the
of,
above?
yeah, like the production team,
Yeah.
the music directors, the producers that I got to work with on the show. Like on the other side of this, have sessions booked for like the next 2 months, essentially.
That's
so
epic.
sick.
Yeah, which is so fun.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where I want to be and exactly what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
So that would not have been enabled so easily if not for the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are we
Cool.
expecting any new music out soon?
No, not soon actually.
Dang.
Because I'm very much like before the end of the year. But
Okay.
okay, I'll deal with that. I talk more on that later.
Sick.
That song.
Love it.
But yeah, I'm just in a super fun space of writing, further developing as an artist, and
Cool.
yeah, just cranking out the songs. And I don't think I realized the quantity that you should be writing versus what you should be releasing. Like it's recommended that for say a 12-song album, you write 60 to 70 songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And so
I also
that's
think like all of our favorite artists that we listen to.
John
like-
Mayer.
Bro, how?
oh my lord.
Think about the music.
Think
that
about
is, like,
his
hidden away.
discography. Like he has hundreds and hundreds of songs out. Those would have been very finely picked from a humongous pile.
Yeah.
Like thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of songs. So here I was rocking up to Popstars, kind of like, oh yeah, I've got like probably 20 songs I'm confident playing live. Now I'm like, bro, I need like hundreds, or I want hundreds that I can then
Wow.
pick the best of, you know? So writing right now is
Cool.
the go, and still playing live.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that is super important to me is even though I'm not super polished as an artist yet, like I'm not 100% sure I know who I am, but the world doesn't know who I am yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not releasing just yet, but I still want to be playing live and I still want to be playing my songs live, and because that's my favorite thing is just playing gigs.
That's
So yeah, definitely still going to be playing a lot of live shows.
Sick.
Yes.
If you could dream into the future, like you're a bit older and you're, significantly further along in your career, what would a day look like for you? What would a dream day in like your dream career in the music industry be?
Honestly, like there were days on Popstars that I was like, flip, this would be my dream day.
Wow.
I keep stammering. I've recently picked up a stammer.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, and it's really weird. Someone said to me the other day, because we were pretend stammering. And then someone said, you should be careful because by pretending to stammer, you will naturally develop. Wow, I'm saying stammer, stutter.
Yeah. Stammer is the same thing. Yeah.
Is it?
And I think I
Interesting,
low-key
yeah.
am, and it's freaking me out.
Yeah, let's cut that out now.
Yeah, when you
a
stop
career in music.
it's that vine of the kid. Anyway, dream day. I'm gonna sound like such a Ponsonby girl.
Go. Let's go.
Avya
from
on
the
toast.
Oh my gosh!
from the moment. No, honestly, let's get that detailed. Like from the
keen.
moment
Yeah.
you wake up,
Okay.
like let's go. Early morning, 6 a.m. wake up.
Okay,
like,
absolutely.
Till
But early for
Avya's
stuff.
well, I was thinking more
Immediately.
9 or 10.
Okay, no. So dream day. Wake up at 7. Okay, I could do 6:30.
Cool.
Anyway, details. Get up, make a coffee, sit on my
What
veranda.
kind of coffee are we making?
Yeah, come on.
Espresso.
Okay, well, I
Pour
can't
over.
use a coffee machine.
Cool.
So
So
Instant.
your home barista. Will
my
be
home
serving
barista will whip me up a soy flat white,
Ooh.
and I will sit on my veranda or deck and just drink my coffee, have some quiet time, and just write my thoughts. Like just brain dump.
You. Where are we
Like-
talking location wise? Where is this home? Where's this veranda? Where are you looking out over?
Oh man. Honestly, I quite like it. Sounds like I'm shooting real low right now, but practically this is where I would like to be, is around where I am.
Cool. So like
The
Auckland,
bays.
Kohimarama,
Yeah, Kohimarama, Mission
yeah.
Bay. Love
Cool.
it.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Yeah, I just love getting up and just brain dumping on paper. I don't always have the time to do that, / I'm not always motivated enough to do that. But when I do, it's so good. So dream day, drink coffee, write for 30 minutes, an hour, get up, and
Go to the studio.
go, there's probably catch up with someone and get a like-minded musician or industry person, and get in a good space, go to the studio, do some writing. Shoots are really fun. I
Yeah.
love shoots.
Like
I
photo?
love- yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that.
So cool.
Honestly, just writing and events, gigs. I love going to those in the evenings, and supporting other local artists. And yeah, I just want to write and I want to perform and I want to hang out with people.
That's awesome.
Essentially, I was super detailed, and then I just went yeah, stuff the details.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really cool.
The choice. The
so
choice.
fun. Yeah,
How good.
I like it a lot.
So what does the next year look like for you? So you've obviously just been through this massive show that it's been huge in New Zealand actually. We haven't had a show like Idol or X Factor for a number of years.
Yeah.
you.
Not that it's, I mean, I guess
New Zealand's still a
Popstars was
small-
quite priding itself on not being like those shows. But
Yeah.
I mean, what does this next year look like for you? What are you going to be channeling your energy into, and what is important to you over this next year for your career?
Yeah, so...
Or even just for you as an individual?
Yeah. I'm kind of in a funny space because I have essentially just lost my job and lost my flat. And
Legally.
so in terms of the logistics of life, I have no clue what I'm doing. But music is going really good.
Nice.
And like I said, I'm doing what I want to be doing, writing with lots of people, further developing my sound, cultivating relationships, getting out there and supporting other New Zealand artists, which is also super important, and just networking and getting to know people better. And I feel like I am probably in a better position to do that, and a lot more confident to do that as well. So yeah, in terms of tangible goals for the year, super lucky to get some producer funding from NZ On Air to work with Joe Ferris, which is going to be awesome.
Nice.
So that's us for the next couple of months. And then from that, probably look a bit more at releasing. And yeah, but baby steps, just going to write in the near future.
Cool.
I would like to release 2 singles by the end of the year.
Nice.
And I would like to do a small tour, but I don't know if that's an urgent priority.
And you've got an upcoming show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a bit
not
about
my
that?
show, but
yeah. Supporting act.
yes. So super excited to be opening for Jeremy Redmore in
Oh, come
Cool.
Tauranga next year. Kind of random it's in Tauranga, but we're here for a road trip. He's a great dude. He was sort of a mentor throughout the Popstars
awesome.
filming and stuff, and such a good dude. So
Yeah.
And you've got a classic photo of you and him from
I do.
way back in the day, right?
So we were having like a masterclass with him, and I was kind of like, I know you, but I don't know how I know you. And then only just clicked that he was from Midnight Youth, and I was like, oh my
Classic
gosh, I
Kiwi
have a
band.
photo with you when I'm
Yeah.
7 years old, and
Fuzzy.
absolutely fangirling over you. And then I whip it up like in the middle of after the masterclass, and I show him, and he was like, "Wow, I haven't changed wardrobes." And he was wearing like the same. It was one of these hats and like
That's funny.
and glasses, the exact same
Well,
pair.
it's a cool beanie because it looks almost like a cap.
Yeah.
And because it's got the little kind of like.
And I respect
buckle
him
at the
because that was like 2008, and he was wearing
Right.
them, and
He's
now they're
rocking it.
super in, you know.
Consistent.
And the like transparent glasses
Yeah. Oh.
that are super in now, but back
Yeah.
then he was just ahead of the
true.
trendset, man.
He's a trendsetter.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So when's that gig?
I think the 12th of June.
12th of June.
Should probably get practicing.
So good.
But
Nice.
yeah, it's
Get
gonna be
your
real fun.
tickets.
Yes.
What would you say the biggest challenge has been like in your career so far as a musician?
Just getting discouraged at. I mean, I think so often you can look forward. It's actually healthier to look backwards rather than to look forwards. That sounds super weird. But
Nah,
if you're
I get
constantly,
that.
you know, looking
Yeah.
forward at, I want to be here and I'm still absolutely not even close to being there,
Yeah.
it can get so overwhelming. Whereas if you look back 2 years ago, I was here and I've grown so much and
Yeah.
I've done so much, achieved so much, and I'm proud of myself. I find that just keeping that perspective of like, yes, you can still have a place you want to get to and be striving for it, but don't forget to like give yourself some credit and look back and acknowledge and reflect on what you have achieved. Because I'm like kind of I kick myself if I feel like I'm not achieving things, and it's just like a weird. I think everyone in my family's like always have to be working, always have to be succeeding and achieving and doing these tangible things that I can tick off at the end of the day. Especially my mum, and which I think, yeah, that's absolutely where I get it from. But it's just like ingrained into me that you need to be constantly getting, you know, improving and growing and getting better. And with music, it's quite hard to.
It's not a very
Just-
linear journey, right?
No, just in that it's not a degree.
Right.
You can't study for it. You
And
can
then-
yeah.
yeah.
You know, you can't study to be a great artist and have a successful career.
Right.
And it is like everyone's journey. I hate that word. Everyone's journey as an artist is so different, and you actually like you can definitely learn from other people, but you can't replicate their pathway and assume it's going to work for you. It's like very much just keeping your eyes open, taking the bits of advice that resonate with you, putting it in your own little toolbox of information, and just figuring it out as you go, which I
Yeah.
kind of hate because I like to know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'd struggle with that.
Yeah, I like to know what I'm doing tomorrow from start to finish,
Yeah.
and I don't know that. So that is definitely, for me personally, the most challenging thing is the unknown. But we're learning to let go a bit more.
On a similar vein to that, I'm just thinking about in New Zealand, we've got such a cool music industry.
Yeah, we
And
do.
like, I think we actually have a lot of amazing support for artists and up
it's
and coming
crazy.
artists as well, which is so cool to
It's
see.
so sad.
What would you, so from your experience as still quite a young musician as well, and having gone on your journey through, you know, starting with busking and weddings and these gigs and releasing your music, what, if you had to impart some sort of like nugget or wisdom that is so personal to you from your experience to these up and coming artists and musicians and these guys just scratching through into the industry, or, you know, just even starting to experiment, like what would you share? What sort of what would you want to say to even that younger Avya who was
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah,
I'm keen on this?
for sure. I think like you have to put in your 100 hours. Like every gig, every crappy bar gig that I've played where I felt like no one's listened to me, every wedding where people again don't really acknowledge the wedding singer, like even though they can be truly punishing at the time, each of those things has grown me, developed me, made me better, and honed my craft further. And so that kind of changes your attitude in going about those small things.
Right.
Like the things that seem like really mundane day-to-day things. Like I play a gig every single Sunday, and now and then it can get a little bit tedious. But the thing is, that grows me so much. That grows me so much more than sitting there complaining about it.
Yeah.
And so I think for anyone who's trying to have a career, and
So
to my
good.
younger self, like the only thing I'd say is just be diligent. Play wherever and whenever you can.
Take the opportunities.
Yeah. And
Seize
like
it.
humble yourself, because you're actually
That's
not
cool.
too
Yeah.
cool to play this certain gig.
Yeah, I
and
respect that big time.
I
That's
really
really good
struggle
advice.
with artists that obviously if you're an established artist, there are things you do and don't do. But if you are in a certain kind of space, it's like be open and also just be kind to people, like and be as helpful as you can to people, and just be a good person and work hard, man.
Yeah.
I think that's the only those are the only
Those
things that you can
simple
always
things as
commit to
well,
doing.
right?
Yeah.
That can get you so far. Just being a good, like,
For sure.
kind, loving, patient person
Yeah.
Yeah.
in those spaces, right?
Yeah, because like you don't know, you can't actually
and grateful,
force,
right?
Yeah,
For opportunities. And,
totally, and you can't always acquire opportunities on your own accord. You can't like, I want this and this and this. It doesn't work like that. All you can actually do is, am I being the best person to work with that I can be, and am I doing good work?
Yeah.
And I think if you're just focusing on that, like the right people and the right opportunities will come in at the right time, and you'll know how to better navigate them.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, so
That's
just
so awesome.
don't be a dick. To summarize.
It's easy as that, mate.
I feel like we need to make a little jingle out of that.
I think it needs to be a poster.
So is that
Don't
going to
be
be
a
the
dick.
snippet?
Yeah, all right.
Who's your favorite artist right now? You go to. Just right now.
Man, that's a hectic question.
That's actually a really hard
So, what's
But
your
just-
favorite movie?
But just
Your
right now.
favorite song?
But
Right
I mean, not of all
now-
time. Just right now.
right now, Georgia Smith, because she released a new EP, which is I like a lot.
Nice. What do you
Sick.
like about it?
I like the production.
Yeah.
I like the sort of like grungy, gritty guitar, electric guitar, and then just clean, crisp vocal over it. Probably because that's what I like for me personally.
Yeah,
I
fair.
see another woman doing
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, yeah, girl.
Yeah, girl, get
I
it.
like it.
Get
Yeah.
it.
So yeah,
If you were to dream, what would be the one venue in the world that you'd love to play?
so funny because this was a challenge that we did for Popstars. Was what's your dream gig, venue, and all that. And so I chose the Louvre in Paris. I don't even know if they do gigs,
But it's
That's
iconic.
so
but like
cool.
just picture, kind of like, it wouldn't be candlelit, but that sort of vibe, like beautiful, almost orchestral setting, just.
Artistic.
Like you could hear a pin drop. Everyone is just
Yeah.
like there for the music. It's not a bunch of people just getting pissed. It's like people coming along
Yeah.
that just want a beautiful night of just good music in an intimate, beautiful setting.
I love that.
Yeah.
How would you like to step outside your comfort zones as a musician?
I think I want to listen to all genres. I have been quite like tight knit, and these are the genres I like. I
Right.
hate all these ones.
Yeah.
I recommend rap.
Honestly, like, I don't know if that was a joke or not, because you're like,
I was like, that's too normal for you.
I was like, I feel you about to say something
but
outrageous.
I was like, but
rap.
we do listen to rap. Like,
I know.
regularly.
I like it.
But for real,
J. Cole's new album.
Slaps. Slaps with an SH.
Yeah.
slaps. Yuck.
Gross. Never said that before.
Slaps.
I think it should be your new podcast intro.
We'll have to tag ASMR. Slaps. Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'm going to reel you guys back in. I think by listening to all genres and being all accepting of all genres, you learn so much more than you. And that's what I'm figuring out is like, I never listen to rap or country or metal or any of
Country's
these
another good
things.
one.
Okay, see, I've always hated it, but I'm like, there's actually so much good stuff there
Amen.
that I need to
And the
be open
history
to.
of
Yeah,
those genres as well, right?
yeah, totally. And also, I want to just write more freely. Not like, this is something I'm figuring out is I go into sessions or just writing by myself too much sort of thinking like, is this on brand? Is this my genre? Is this da 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 da? And it's like, you shouldn't really be thinking about that.
Good call.
Because just write music and you can refine it and cull and filter it later. But like, even if you write a song that's a really good country song, you can pitch that to someone and you can then maybe make bank off that song. So
the other thing is like, I don't know, I love listening to an album and you hear your favorite artist and then all of a sudden there's that one song in there that's like not at all like any of the others, or it almost does toe on a completely different genre, and it's like, wow, this artist's pushing boundaries. It, like,
for sure.
They're really exploring different music and their ability within those different paradigms. And it's one of the things that I love, because it feels like you've found like a nugget of, it's almost like the limited edition card, or like it's like the bonus, it's something that's like special and iconic.
Totally, yeah. And I think it's an art, like finding how to be yourself, but also go completely whack with what you cross genre. Like, just your songs can sound so vastly different, but it can still be like, oh yeah, that's Avya,
Yeah.
I was going to say another artist, and I was like, nope, that's me. But I think that's something that I want to learn.
That's cool.
So dope.
If you could only eat 3 things for the rest of your life, what would you eat?
Was this a replica of your first date?
I love this question.
You love it because you
honestly.
know what yours are. I know what yours are.
What are yours?
So, like, when
Steak, brock, kumara.
actually, no.
Oh, okay.
Steak. No, actually,
shoot it down.
No, actually, I think you're right.
Okay.
Because
I
avocado,
was like, please let me be
avocado
right.
used to be in there.
Yeah, fair.
But I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think it actually is those 3. But I love that question because I love how you can have like a really cohesive conversation and like kind of jump from topic to topic in the same avenue.
Quite sensual.
And then you just go,
Flamboyant.
Always got whisper
if you
in
could only eat 3 things for the rest of your life, it's just so
Charlie's
hard to
just
go.
like steam training right the way through. He's like, I'm not having a bar of these 2. Like, we've got to stay
At the
on
very
track.
start of the podcast, I'm like, when am I slipping it in? But honestly, what would they be?
Wow.
I actually have no idea. That's a lot of pressure. I want to say peanut butter, but I don't think it's that practical.
Just go without thinking.
Okay, peanut butter.
Yep.
This is going to be a really weird mix.
Go.
Broccoli.
Yep.
And
You can eat those 2 together.
chicken.
Nice.
Actually, no. Potatoes, chicken.
Broccoli.
You guys are so boring.
Yeah, I'm thinking
I'm
about.
here like
I'm
Coe store, ham and cheese croissants.
Really?
But do you know how? Oh wait, are we talking
Those
about
things are
ingredients?
so-
Because I'm thinking about ingredients and their versatility.
Any food item.
Well, like that could be meals.
Pizza.
So Lillian
Okay,
calls
pizza.
it pizza.
I'd get so fat. That was like the only thing I ate.
Okay,
This
we got a
question's-
handful there.
we
What
got
about
a
you?
bunch.
Go 3 right now.
3 off the top of my head, I'd have to say I'm a huge fan of a really good eye fillet steak. And I think to just go completely off the track, cookie skillets.
Oh,
Nice. That's such a good call.
Like, I'm telling you,
Your wife
my
makes
wife.
I love we're just
cookies.
so
Shout out,
good.
Katie.
I love we're just talking about things we've eaten in the last week as well.
That's true.
We're living
thing on
our
our
dream.
mind.
We're literally
Yeah.
living our
Yeah.
We
dream.
literally are. And then I'd have to say in that mix as well,
Bring it home.
yeah, my brain.
Crispy
Real
It's
cream
hard.
glazed donut.
This is not a story we've talked about
Yeah.
on the podcast yet, but I feel like it needs to be.
So just for context, guys, Cam and I used to live together, and one evening I
amount of
came
times I've
home
heard
to
this story.
him with an empty box of glazed crispy. Wait, how many were there?
It was a 12.
A 12
It was a
box.
12 pack.
But an empty 12 pack of 12 glazed
Guys, in
crispy
my
cream,
defense, it was a tough day.
and he had smashed them all.
I
in
was
that
literally just
sitting.
sitting in my shorts, watching Netflix. on the couch.
I just like a battle scene.
Absolutely.
This is
Empty
within
box.
the same week
It was a battle.
as Charlie. I really want to get on top of my health and fitness, and I
man.
really want you to train me.
Man be stumbling.
I mean, I did. I needed help.
Tough out there.
I'll be
It
the
was a
first to
cry for
admit it.
help.
It's tough out there. Avya, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
it's
me,
been fun.
guys.
To wrap it up, one thing that we've asked all our guests is like, what would your like ideal? I guess if you were to look at what you see Jeffrey as right now, what it has been to you, what would be like? What would you just love to see us do?
Yeah, what do you
Like,
want
what's
to see
something that would
more of?
excite you?
Call us out.
I reckon events. I know Art already
Yes.
said this, but
Yes,
like
sick.
I want to go to more events with creative people.
Me.
And I think it's best way to connect people.
Yeah, I agree.
Rather than online. Online's great, but I think if you get them in person,
Yeah.
and then online is just like a cultivating space.
What would that event look like for you? What would you want to do?
I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead, but
Leave it to us and we'll put something
involve
together.
people
Yeah.
and maybe coffee or alcohol. Two favorite beverages. Yeah.
We love a bevy.
Cool.
And the rest is up to you guys.
How good.
Great.
All right, it's
So
been
fun.
amazing.
Thanks,
Time
guys.
to be live.
Real fun.
In town.
Oh man, the fact we brought up the classic old Krispy Kreme.
It had to come out on the podcast at some point.
It was
needs to be
going to.
documented.
It was inevitable.
It needs to be
Kinda-
timeless.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Just
good.
love how many times I've heard you shame you over that.
Because it was
I can't even
iconic.
count the amount of times.
It was iconic.
different
It's a
context.
bullying
Coming
relationship.
home
I'm
to
It
telling
is.
you. Yeah.
I just
I
feel
was-
like
It's not
I'm
a safe
sitting here
space.
like,
I don't live in a safe space.
I was disappointed, but actually impressed.
bit of both.
And that's where we end the podcast.